Let's take a look at some developments in Nigeria. So the National Assembly harmoniously, the upper and the lower chamber, the Senate and the House of Reps, has granted full financial and administrative autonomy to the 774 local government councils in Nigeria. This has been a long time coming. There has been advocacy for this. Finally, it's happened. What would be the implications on this as it concerns grassroots development in Nigeria? Joining us on the conversation this morning will be Honorable Segun Olanipekun, who is Director of Protocol Administration, S.H.E Campaign, and is also former Special Advisor, Special Duties at TT at SOUQ. Good morning. Thank you for joining us virtually.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let me get your feel first on this development. There have been talks, advocacy, conversations around full autonomy for local governments in Nigeria. So finally, the National Assembly has agreed on this, and they have granted that full financial and administrative autonomy to the local government areas. Before we look at the benefits, the pros and cons, how do you feel about this?
Yes, thank you once again for having me. This autonomy issue has been something that has been long coming. You know, the fight has been between the federal government and the state government for a very long time. And, you know, if we are looking at modern day policies and politics, you will see that it's about time that the local government have their own administrative and especially financial autonomy separately from the state government. One of the major issues has been that, you know, when funds that are meant for the 774 local governments go to a joint account whereby the state government superintend over. And with this, the local government always have to refer back to the state government if they want to do any major project, even up to the payment of salary, they have to get approval. So this has been a bottleneck, a bureaucratic bottleneck, you know, in the local government system, you know, creating a situation whereby development can't really occur except by the means and capacities of the government. So to me, it's something that is a good idea. It's fantastic. I think it's coming at the right time, especially now that the economy of the country is passing through a difficult phase, because we need the resources to get to the grassroots, not just at the center, not just at the state capitals. It needs to get to the people who actually need these resources. So granting this autonomy at this point in time is a fantastic deal for the masses.
All right, Honorable Olanipekun, glad to have you join us once again. It's not just about granting the autonomy, but there are concerns as regards this autonomy, and I would like us to talk about it. As someone who has been in that political space for years, I would like you to talk about some of those concerns that have been raised by some of your colleagues, some of the people in the political space, governors, even some of these chairmen, as regards the implication of granting autonomy to chairmen. This means they have full control over their resources, over their funds. But will this not bring some challenges as regards the issue of accountability, transparency, and also the need for true governance to come to the local government level? What are some of those fears and concerns? I would like you to address them.
Okay, thank you very much. Coming from the political perspective, there's what I want to label what we call political maturity. It's the fundamental thing. Now, definitely, when you are starting a new policy, it's going to have its own teething problem. It's like even let's say baby, you know, all the teething problems that you get. What I mean by political maturity is that the people, especially the politicians at the grassroots level, which is the local government that we are talking about now, most of them still have a lot of learning process to, to get to a level whereby this maturity is. Because, you grant them full administrative, that's what the governors are actually saying. You grant full administrative and financial autonomy to some people who have not actually been in that state or haven't had that privilege, and they are just going to have the privilege for the first time. Definitely, you expect some teething problems. We should, in fact, when it starts, we should expect cases of fraud. We should expect cases of theft. We should expect, different things will be happening because, somebody that hasn't have control over 3 billion before, and all of a sudden you are giving them full control to do whatever they have to, what they want to do with it, without even recourse to the governor. Then we should also expect some political issues in the political space, whereby there will be some local government chairmen that will no longer dance to the tune of the governor. So, and when that happens, the governors will always want to fight back, and I'm the governor of the state. You need to follow my lead and this thing. But that's where the thin line of political independence comes in. Independence in the sense that the local government is a tier of government on its own. So, in as much as these teething problems will happen, we must nurture it, put solid structures and systems in place to see them evolve and grow so that they will pass through these teething problems and be able to run like a state. Yes, even when democracy started in 1999, most state governors as at that time, the same thing that might happen now happened then. Most of them were young, they came in control of a lot of resources. Most of them didn't really care about the people. They just did what they had to do and just lived anyhow. So that's the same thing that's going to happen in the local government, and that's a major concern. Will these local politicians see that it's the masses, it's all about the masses, it's all about the people? Will they bring the real dividends of democracy down to the grassroots people who actually need it? Those are the fundamental questions. On the political side of things, will the governors be able to swallow this bitter pill and, knowing that they are not going to have access and control over these resources anymore, which is what they use in controlling the local government chairman? Aside from that, we should also know that this law would also prohibit local governors from just dismantling the local government structure or just ending tenures abruptly or appointing caretaker this committee members. So these are some of the political repercussions of this and the concerns. And also the law, from what I've seen, it also says that the set SEC, that state independence, will be abrogated. So most elections at that level will be also conducted by NASS. So it's a major change. And when change comes, adaptability questions also come.
All right, you've talked about teething problems happening, or the chances of teething problems happening, because this is quite new. But there is the approval of the Office of Auditor General of Local Government Councils and Local Government Service Commission. What should be the roles of these officers in helping with the teething problems that might come up with autonomy being granted to the local government councils in Nigeria?
Yes. So when, like, I mentioned, we have to be systems and structures in place to make sure that these teething problems are solved. Like now, the Auditor General's office will have to double their efforts to look into the books and have like an oversight over these local government councils. Most of them will be new to the system. They will not understand, how it's being run. So that oversight needs to be there. They need to be on their case, monitor finances, EFCC and other agencies of government need to also have presence at the grassroots level now, because yes, they had presence at the state level. Now they have to also start looking at the grassroots level. Politicians who would divert funds and use funds for things that they're not meant to use it for. There have to be checks and balances. So with these systems in place, the new local government executives will have to learn to follow the rules of the game and the principles of the game.
All right. I'm happy earlier that you talked extensively about some of the challenges that may arise as regards this new bill. But my worry is, do you think this bill has enough clauses to take care of the overbearance of governors as against some of these chairmen? Do you think this bill is so extensive that it can take care of some of these challenges that you have raised? Did you foresee any loophole?
Well, I don't think the bill is foolproof yet. Just like we have with the Electoral Act, that we went into the 2022 general election, and all of a sudden we thought it was foolproof, and at the end of the elections, we saw the loopholes that that came out of it. There was a glitch. What we thought that okay, it must be electronic, it didn't happen like that. So that's the same way this law is. The National Assembly has taken the first bold step to bring out this law. So when they do that, we will have to run it. When it's being run, and maybe after the first couple of tenures, you will start seeing the major loopholes, because definitely the governors have their people in the National Assembly too. I hope we should also remember that. And when these laws are being passed, the governors have full view of what is passing. So as politicians, there are always loopholes that you put that in some of these bills that are being injected. Okay, if this guy talks like this, how do I come out of it? In law, there's always, you will find a loophole. It cannot be 100% foolproof, but there is always room for improvement at the end of the day, because it's until you run the system fully, after you run it, you will now see that okay, we need to amend here. We need to amend here. Like now, they are already clamoring that the Electoral Act, INEC is even part of this, is the champion that okay, some things need to be amended in the Electoral Act, which is currently discussions on that is currently ongoing. So this is the same thing that will happen. But the major winning point here is that the local governments will have administrative and financial autonomy. Now, before, there are some states whereby, I'll give you some examples. There are some states, I won't mention the states, whereby immediately the funds from all the governors does is to make sure, just release salary to the local government and the rest, only you and I know what happens to it. So that kind of thing now, the local government chairman will, okay, he might just, after you releasing salary, just leave 100 million for him. Yeah, use that one, bring your own little running around. And when that 100 million comes to the local government chairman, what do you expect? You first of all look for ways to take care of his immediate office. At the end of the day, you use just 20 million out of billions of naira that is allocated to a local government to maybe go and do one gutter in one small place and say, oh, yes, he has done his own project. So this is a major issue. So at the end of the day, when the local government has that full control, and after removing a salary, maybe out of 3 billion or 4 billion, you remove salary of 1.5 billion, you have about 2.5 billion. The people in the grassroots can now hold you accountable. Oga, what are you doing? What's the remaining 2.5 billion? What has happened to me? You've been clamoring for control, you have control. And those grassroots people, they don't have joy. In most communities, they don't have joy. Once they see that, in fact, it's even more serious. Once they see that you are that kind of person, they revolt. Revolt can come easily, starting from the grassroots area. So these are some of the gains that we can get in that area.
All right, let's flip the coin and look at the local government chairmen themselves in terms of performance. There have also been arguments against granting autonomy to the local government councils. Now, the argument has been based on the fact that it is not because the state governments are in charge of the funds allocated to the local governments, that even the little or even the one that has been given to the local government, not much has been seen as regards what they've been used for. Now, do you think full autonomy being granted, you've talked about what the gains will be. Is that the ideal situation or what you think really is going to happen this time?
Yes, that's the ideal situation, first of all. But you and I both know what will happen in reality. We will have those bad eggs, definitely. It will come out. We will have flamboyance, we will have extravagance. Because, like I said, these are some set of people that have not really had this kind of resources at their level before. So you might first of all have a situation of chop by chop. Let my family first of all come and chop. You understand? You have full administrative control. You have job racketeering. You know, people is the grassroots level. For example, when we go for our elections, we know everybody. You understand? We know that this person is either APC, this person is PDP, this person is LP. You will know their house. That's the way grassroots politics is. So this family, this is the person that is chairman now. You know, you start seeing their family members in the local government secretariat, you know, running things. So these things are bound to happen. That's why we must ensure that there are systems and in place. There are checks and balances. EFCC they have to broaden their portfolio. You understand? They have to do a lot of things to make sure that these things, these system problems don't happen at that grassroots level. There should be more checks and balances on the local government chairman themselves, because as we are having checks and balances on the governor, that's the same way we should also check those local government chairmen, because they now have full control and full powers to do whatever they want to do.
Right. In ensuring transparency and accountability, I heard you talked about the role of EFCC and some of the agencies that should come up with that responsibility. But let's talk about the roles of people in the local communities who are largely affected by the impact of these. How can they call for governance, true governance? How can they call for accountability, knowing fully well we're in a climate where political figures are hardly questioned?
Yes, sure. We can do that because, number one, the traditional institutions need to be carried along. You know, the local government chairmen, they have more reverence for the traditional institutions in their community. For example, a local government chairman of, let me give an example, Ado-Ekiti local government in a state would have more reverence for the Ewe of Ado-Ekiti. You understand? If he's not doing anything right. And they have different chiefs that represent each tiny community in that area. The people can go to those chiefs, the chiefs take it to the wing council, who then calls the local government chairman. And I don't think any local government chairman will be disrespectful to a traditional authority. As yes, we might say because of the constitution we operate, the government is much higher than the traditional institution, but definitely we still have this reverence that we give to traditional institutions. So the traditional institutions will be part of the checks and balances on this local government chairman to call them to order. Okay, your people are saying this and this is what's happening, and to look into what they are doing, and to also inform them of the needs of the people, because these traditional institutions are still very effective at that level. For example, if somebody if a local government chairman is reported to a sultan, you understand, he knows that he's in for it, because he will not want to disrespect the sultan of that of Sokoto. That's just an example. So traditional institutions need to be strengthened. There are discussions coming up now to also increase their role in make it more constitutional, so that the incidences we are having nowadays will not happen. So that's on one side. Law enforcement needs to be effective at the local level. Those are some of the ways these things can be checked. Then the people, there are different social cultural groups at that level that are also very effective. They are voices of change. So these social cultural groups, they have their own interests in the local government administration, and they act like pressure groups also to enforce change at the local government level.
All right, still talking about achieving transparency and accountability as regards the issue of autonomy. What do you think should be the role of the State House of Assembly in ensuring that this bill, if eventually signed by the President, achieve the purpose intended? In terms of oversight functions and responsibility, what can they do differently to ensure that this bill brings true governance to the grassroots?
Yes, just like the way the state government do, the local government also has its own legislative council. Now, the legislative council is made up of the councillors, and they even have their own speaker, which they elect among themselves. So those councillors end up being councillors for, they now have supervisors and all those things in their own structure. So talking about the role of the State House of Assembly, definitely they have a greater role in having checks and balances on those local government councils. Just the way that if there is a crisis in a state, for example, the National Assembly can also intervene. We've had one or two scenarios like that in the country, whereby the National Assembly, I think during the Buhari administration, was intervening in a state where there was crisis. The same thing also, the State House of Assembly can also intervene, but the primary oversight functions that happen on the executive arm of the local government, because it's the same thing across board. The local government has its own executive arm and their legislative arm. Their primary oversight function is by those councillors. Now, those councillors are the closest to the people, because they are the leaders of the least political structure in the country, which is the ward level structure. So they are elected from each ward to the local government council. And they are the ones that look at what the chairman and the executive of the local government does. They also pass their budget, inspect their projects, do all this oversight and, monitor what is going on. And when it's not going on well, they can also impeach the chairman if possible. So these are some of the checks. So at that level, that is how it's operated. But at the state level, if there's a crisis at that local government level, the House of Assembly in the state can institute, committees to, probe, view what's going on, and also pass laws against that local government and, correct the missteps that are going on at the local government level. So the local government, the House of Assembly has a major role to also play in ensuring that there is no breakdown of law and order at the local government level. That's primarily how far they can go. They can ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order, by checking what's going on and, not basically being in the day-to-day running of activities here, because that's what the legislative arm of the local government is there for that oversight. But just to make sure that there's no breakdown of law and order at each local government.
All right. As a follow-up to that question, let me point your attention to something you might be aware of. You might realize that most of these councillors or state assembly members, they belong to the same political parties. So how is it for them to question either their chairman or their governors in this regard as regards the issue of transparency and the use of those funds? Do you see objectivity here and having the right political will to actually question the chairman, since they belong to the same political party? And perhaps they could be, aides to, or friends or colleagues to, even most of these chairmen. So how easy for these people to have the right political will? And then looking at the present structure, will it support, asking questions or calling for transparency from some of those chairmen?
Sincerely speaking, that's a very difficult one, because if in a state, politically, there is a structure, and nobody, as a politician, once there's an established structure in the state, an established leadership structure, every politician in that structure tries to toe the line and just follow the structure and don't go out of turn. But that brings the question of political integrity and, the essence of leadership, and, why you contested an election, or why you are even in politics in the first place. I want to tell you truthfully, but I know many Nigerians don't believe me. There are politicians that actually care about the people. It's not every politician that is moved by financial innuendos or, power tussle. It's not. There are some politicians that have this integrity. For example, if you have politicians that come from the same party, for example, I'll use myself as an example. I was, as a member of a political party, there was a time I actually disagreed with my governor, because as at that time, I saw that, most of the things that were happening weren't right. So it's about being brave and, challenging the status quo. It has consequences. Yes, you might be blacklisted. They might take you as the prodigal son. But at the end of the day, people with good minds would see and know that you stood for the truth. But I'll give you another example. We have with the politics that is happening in Nigeria now, and especially my party, you see there's a group of legislators which we call the G60 opposition. Things like that happen, in the National Assembly, and they stood up and they are making their voice heard. They are not following the pattern, and that's the same thing. A chairman and the councillor, they are from the same party. But that does not make the chairman the supreme lord, because everybody has their own brain to function. So if the councillor is there and is courageous and is bold and he really wants what is right for his people, he will voice out and he will try to influence and get like-minded people like him to speak out and speak truth to power. So that's the only thing such people can do. And, in politics, we have leaders of good fortune, of good influence. When somebody is not doing right, and, we have a total leader up there that can actually speak to the matter, and that this person, anytime he speaks with integrity, such matters can be taken to that leader to intervene. And, based on the structure which I earlier explained, everybody would want to show and respect, that leader. So these are some of the ways those things can be checked and caught.
All right, let's look at the implication of this full autonomy and full financial and administrative autonomy on businesses and even the people. Is there a possibility of seeing duplication of agencies and even policies? How will this impact the immediate environment of the local governments?
Yes, this is a major problem. For example, I will use Abuja as a case study. Most of us come to Abuja. So you get to see a situation whereby there's a lot of duplicity in taxation. You get to see, like, for example, in AMAC now, AMAC is a council on its own. Now, in AMAC, in Abuja, we also have the FCDA, which is like the state government, kind, so to say. So there is this thin line that is always being breached. If you are a business owner, you get to see so many taxes that comes your way from the local government, and you wonder, okay, what's this one for again? Then you see the duplicity again from the LCGA. So these are some of the challenges of the local government level. Yes, the autonomy is going to improve the business environment at the local government level, because when there is a structure and when there is improvement in the way of life and the things that are happening at the local government level, they are building roads, they are constructing, they are taking care of their health institutions more better. Business will start thriving and investment will come in to the local government level. These are some of the positives. But the negatives of this is that giving them more power, we have to start looking at the laws. The laws. The National Assembly has to really look at the 1999 Constitution and look at, okay, what the responsibilities of the local government. There should be a clear dichotomy. There should be a clear separation. The responsibilities of the local government and the responsibilities of the state government. How can they generate revenue? That's IGR. Let their IGR instances, let it don't collide with each other. There's a collision. I must I must tell you, because you see the state trying to collect a certain tax, and the local government is also fighting that no, this tax belongs to them. We've even seen cases whereby some local government take the state government to court, and the court gets to rule in whoever favor. So the laws must be straight. Some of the laws that were used to establish the local government as at that time are archaic, and they need to be modernized. You get to see some taxes like radio tax, TV tax, and I'll give you a concrete example. You are traveling. There was a day that my driver was traveling from Ado to Benin, and along the road there, there were some group of boys that were from a particular local government in Edo State, and they were holding the driver for listening to, he had this CD in the car, and they say he had to pay, there's a tax. He wasn't even listening to the main radio station. He was playing a normal CD, and they were telling him that he had to pay some radio tax on that CD player. That some of these things, they have to check it out and improve on those laws to make it clear cut, so that there is no confusion within the two structures, the state government and the local government.
Right. Nigeria has it has 774 local government. And if you check some of this local government, what is happening there, you observe that they are bereft of true development. Now, if the president signs this bill and it becomes the order of the day, how do you think this chairman should channel these funds in order to achieve true governance and for people at the local level to feel the impact of true governance? What are the areas you think these funds should be channeled to?
Yes, thank you very much. The chairman should focus on what makes the local government thrive. Every local government has a selling point. Nigeria is so blessed. Aside from that, some of the governors created local council development areas. Even in those tiny local council development areas, they have things that make them stand out. Number one is agriculture. That is the bedrock of the Nigerian state. We have to go back to agriculture, not just focus on the oil and gas and other things that come with natural resources that come with it. In every local government in Nigeria, there is an agricultural produce that is generated from that local government. So the chairman needs to focus on that. Focus on your strengths and grab the low-hanging fruit of success. Low-hanging fruit of success, which I mean is, what makes you win in your local government? You have land. How do you empower this youth and make agriculture very, very beautiful, that they see it as, okay, this is something I can actually do. Mechanize it. There are companies that are doing very well in Nigeria in agriculture. Speak to them. You can travel, go to where they are and see what they are doing that is making them win, and replicate it in your own local government, because now you now have the resources to actually invest, bring this experts. Secondly, there is a huge infrastructure deficit at the local government level. The local government must now invest in infrastructure. You can't leave it alone for the state government. Now you have your resources. You can start grading internal roads in your local government. Start from there. It doesn't mean you must make it asphalt or carry a Julius Berger to come and do roads. Local contractors, utilize them. Let the money move within the local government. And you'll see that results will start popping out. If at that level, you are engaging local contractors, local bricklayers, they are doing the gutters, engaging local cleaners, they are clearing all the sewage and all those things. You see that, the economy of the local government will start improving. I will just use these two major aspects as an example: agriculture and infrastructure. Once the local government can channel their resources after your payment of that, you can't afford to owe salaries at the local government level. That's number one. Human capital, welfare will be my third point. You must make sure that your human resource is on point. You pay salaries to the local government because these people, that's what they depend on. Most of them don't. There's no big oil company in those areas or one big company that is employing people. Most people at that level, that's what they rely on. The local government and LGAs schools. You understand, the teachers that are there, they rely on their salary. Then, as they're paying them the salary, also encourage them to go into farming, give them soft loans, give them land, make land available, clear it. To also do the roads, you can also get machinery. Get your own machinery. There's a supervisor for works in every local government. There's a supervisor for work. Get your own local machinery. Let it be working 24/7. You can buy your own caterpillar and run it. And you must stand on it that this one is not for making money. This one is not for you people to come and spoil it and just use it anyhow. Let it be working. Let it be grading roads. Let it be getting sand to fill all the potholes. When the local government is doing their own part, the state government will be doing their own part. The federal government will be doing their own part. You will see that the country will start to blossom and there will be a balance.
Thank you so much, Honorable Segun Olanipekun. I like the fact that you've touched on several things, opening the eyes of people, citizens of Nigeria, because for quite some time now, the belief has been that local governments cannot do much aside paying salaries. When you talk of tarring roads and infrastructure development, they seem to be excused out of it. But what you said now, people can now begin to expect more from them and hold the local government council chairman accountable, because to whom much is given, much is expected. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We'll draw the curtain on today's edition of Ed Exchange. Many thanks for watching. Please be sure to follow us on our social media platforms at SOUQ News TV on Facebook, Instagram, X, and drop a comment. You can also do that on YouTube, on a YouTube channel at SOUQ News TV. The conversation continues with you sharing your thoughts on the issues that have been discussed here today. And also like and share our content. Thank you so much. The show continues tomorrow, 8 a.m. West African time. I am Blessing A.H.A. Have yourself a great day.
All right. Yes, indeed. The business of shaping policy continues on our social media platform. You can be part of that conversation at SOUQ News TV. Market Insight comes up at 11. Don't forget to join Novena for you to get the latest development as regards the global market and even the local market as well. Early Exchange returns tomorrow. I am Femi Ayodele. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.
Early Exchange, shaping policy. advancing development.